Alrighty, YouTube, what is up? We are live, Momentum Productions, Josh Morgan here. Yes, I can. Okay, awesome. Alright, so we're going to wait for a few people to tune in here and then we're going to get started. So we're going to be talking this is a casual Q&A. So I'm trying to do these Q&As as many times as I can throughout the week because I want to answer as many of your questions as possible, especially if you're trying to be a filmmaker, you're putting in all of your effort. So I'm trying to do as many of these Q&As as possible for as long as I can. So if you have any questions, please let me know. This is just a random filmmaking Q&A. However, good news. Hi guys, what's up? Good news is that I just released a new tutorial video earlier this morning, and it has to do with controlling focus on a glide cam. So I strongly suggest going on my channel and checking out my latest new tutorial video because it's going to show you exactly how to control focus on a glide cam. So yeah, I hope you've watched that video. I hope you had a great weekend. So please, if you have any questions, I strongly suggest asking me now because I'm ready to share with you all my knowledge. Okay, so here we go. Had an amazing shoot this weekend. All of your tips really helped out. Thanks, man. Halvin Wolf, you are so welcome, my friend. I'm so glad that you found these tips helpful. I really appreciate it. I hope that it gets you even more work in the future and better work, and you have all that good stuff coming up. So here we go. Some questions. I suck so bad with the glide cam. Can it control me not sucking? Stephen Holt. I don't know, man. I used to be really bad at glide cams too. I just put a lot of time. I used to put in probably 5-6 hours a day on operating a glide cam when I first got mine. So it takes a lot of work, my friend. I got to the point now where I can set up and balance a glide cam in under 3 minutes. Each week I use my glide cam, the smaller amount of time it takes for me to balance. So I want to get it down to under a minute. But about 3 minutes is where I'm at with balancing my glide cam. I think that's pretty good. It's not bad. Alright, so Zvi Moss, I followed all of your tips on glide cam maneuvering and my shots suck. Why? Why do they suck, my friend? Why? What's going on? The glide cam is very difficult. It looks easy, but it's not as easy as it looks. Shaking my head, laugh out loud. The Power 3 podcast. Yes, it is a difficult thing to do, but like everything that's difficult, you need time to practice. But I promise you, it's like a bicycle. Once you practice it enough times, you're never ever going to forget it. Once you're good at it, you're always going to be good at it. You're never going to forget to learn how to balance a glide cam or use a glide cam for that matter. So just like a bicycle. What do you think about the HitFilm 4 Pro? I don't know what that is. What is the HitFilm 4 Pro? Is that a software or what is it? Let me know what that is, please. You know, I'm going to Google it. HitFilm 4 Pro. Video effects for software. Huh. Interesting, I've never heard of them. Pro editing, superpowered visual effects, next gen. I'm gonna check it out. It looks like it's gonna be competing with After Effects. Wow, that's really cool. I'm gonna check it out. Thank you for oh, it's a video editor. Okay, cool, awesome. Alright, I'll check that out. Any tips on organizing a shot list? I need to think about that because when I'm doing my shoots, it's usually run and gun. especially with all my clients. I rarely use a shot list. We just have an idea and a location. We just do this, this, and this. But we should use a shot list. So when you're creating a shot list, when I did web series and a short film and a few short films, we did all the old school stuff. We had to do shot lists. We had to do light measuring and all that stuff. Stuff that you don't usually use today, we did. So when it came to organizing a shot list, obviously, I organize shot lists. Obviously, they have to be in order of the story. In my opinion, I feel like that just gets me more organized. And shot lists have to include, do you want it to be full body, medium, or close up, or extreme close up? I feel like each shot list that you put down not only has to be in order, obviously, and regarding the location, but also what kind of shot it's going to be. So it's going to be medium close up, extreme close up, wide. So it depends. When I do a shot list, I just put it down in order, label what kind of shot it is. Is it medium close up, extreme close up, and how many cameras are going to be in that shot. Sometimes it's 2, 3, 4, all that stuff. So I hope that helped you out. I know it's a kind of a vague answer, but I rarely use shot lists now. I really do. But if you want to be extremely organized, if you're working in a short film, you obviously need to have a shot list and a storyboard. Zvimas, they are all shaky. Make a video and send it to me. I want to see how you're working your glide cam. Maybe I can give you some pointers. Just send me the video, upload it to YouTube. And just send me the video. I can tell by the way you hold it, using your fingers to control the gimbal, and how you're walking. I can tell you everything. And I can let you know if you balanced it properly, because that's a big thing too. What is your take on the Samsung 360 camera? Which model is that one again? Because the only one I knew of was the Theta S. That was one of the first 360 cameras to come out. And the Theta S was decent. I didn't like the picture quality. But if you're talking about the 360-degree camera that Casey Neistat was using, I like the quality of it. I liked it. I've never used it, so I can't give you my personal opinion, like my true opinion about it. But the quality that I've seen out of the Samsung 360-degree cameras, especially from Casey Neistat's video, if you don't know him, Google him or YouTube him, they look pretty darn good. By the way, thank you so much for your glide cam tips. You are literally the best teacher on YouTube. Oh man, thank you so much. Thank you. And if you all think that, I would really appreciate you sharing this channel. I want to hit 100,000 subscribers. I want to keep going, pushing, hustling. So if you could help me achieve my dream, obviously I'm going to keep updating you guys with new content, new lessons, and all that stuff. I would really appreciate if you guys share my channel, share my videos. I really want to get this channel up to at least 100,000 subscribers. That's my goal right now. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic. I really appreciate all of your support. And you can also, if you want me to review certain equipment, I also now take donations on my YouTube channel, and you can send me super chats on my live streams as well now. So you can donate maybe $1, 50 cents, doesn't matter what the amount is, but all the donations I get go towards reviewing new equipment. Because some of the equipment that you guys want me to review I will never use, but I will still review it because it will enlighten you guys on whether or not you want to buy it or not. So if you guys could send me, donations are always welcome. Okay? Yeah, the Power 3 podcast. It's the Samsung Gear 360. Yes, that's the one that Casey Neistat was using, and I like the picture quality out of it. However, everything that's uploaded to YouTube is not raw footage. It's compressed footage. So I'm assuming that the Gear 360 actually looks a lot better in raw. Fresh off the camera. Halvin Wolf, new Rob Riches videos coming? Yeah, so with Rob Riches, we haven't made a video in about a month. That's just because we're restructuring his YouTube content. So we are going to have a shoot coming up this week. A bunch of new stuff. I can't talk too much about it right now, but it's a bunch of new creative stuff that we're going to be releasing. The shoots are starting this week again, and we have a whole structure and a whole schedule on what's coming. So stay tuned for all the Rob Riches videos, because I know a few of you are fans of Rob Riches. Wayne, please help me. Why when I do a pan, the image is distorted and out of focus? When you do a pan, the image is distorted and out of focus. When you do a pan on with a glide cam? Is that what you're asking? Let me know. Do the glide cam shots are smoother than the Lang shots? Not that no. I think that Lang produces just as good as gimbals as a glide cam. The only difference is one is made in China and one is made in America. But honestly, I don't think there's a difference in gimbals. They're using similar bearings. I don't think there's a difference. However, there are small things, like the quality of the sled on the glide cam is way better than the sled on the other Chinese stabilizers. So there's little things that are a lot better on the glide cam than on the Chinese stabilizers. But then again, there's a trade-off. You're paying a third of the price for a Chinese glide cam than you are for the American glide cam. So for me, it's worth it. Those little things don't bother me too much. Okay, will you be making any short movies with the glide cam? Check out my YouTube channel. I've done a ton of glide cam videos, especially ones with my clients. One of them being Rob Riches. He's a workout trainer, weight trainer. So you can check out his channel. I do all of his videos shooting on either a glide cam or an electronic gimbal. So yeah, hope that answers your question. What do you do when you do live streams? It's an interesting question. What do I do when I do live streams? I answer questions, right? Interesting question, my friend. What do I do when I do live streams? Okay. All right. Next question. Let me know. More questions, guys. Come on. Ask me. I got a little bit of time here on my hands. Will you be getting the GH5? No, I will not be getting the GH5. I already have the GH4. I use it as a vlogging camera. But because Sony is releasing their new cameras, I'm gonna wait for Sony to come out with something new. The only reason why I'm staying away from the GH5 is because its low light capabilities are very, very bad. I don't like it. Steve Holt, Phantom 4 Pro or used Inspire 1? Depends what camera you're getting with the Inspire 1. But as of right now, I would say the Phantom 4 Pro, definitely. Just because you're getting that beautiful 1-inch sensor from the Sony cameras. Sony's making the sensor for DJI. So I love it. I love that capability of 20 megapixel stills, 4K at 60 frames per second, and that compression ratio is, it decreased or increased. So it went from 60 megabits per second data rate to 100 megabits. So you're getting almost double the data than you did before. Any tips to stay in focus while using a glide cam? It is my main problem. Bro, I just released a new video this morning covering that problem. Check it out. Go to my YouTube channel. It's my newest video that I just released this morning on how to control focus with the glide cam. Check it out. I just released it. If you are subscribed to my channel, hopefully you get notified. Turn on notifications on my videos. Turn on notifications. You'll get notified of every single new video that I release. That's important. When you shoot, how much is planned and how much is improv? So when I shoot with my clients especially, we have things basically planned out. Like, okay, this is what we're going to shoot. These are the close-ups. But we don't follow that to a T. Most of it is improv. Especially the Rob Riches videos that I've done, it's all improv. Some of the Rebecca Black videos that I've done, some of that's improv. We have a general idea, but the specifics are never covered until we get to the shoot. Sometimes that's the case when you're freelancing and you're You're dealing with clients. You can't do everything to a T. You have to be able to know how to improv. That way, if you run into any problems, you'll know quickly how to switch gears and to just still make the shoot work. Which is why following a planned shot list to a T is never a good idea, because what if something doesn't work out? You have to have a backup. So when you improv, it makes your brain work in that mode, and it's like, okay, we don't have to do this, we can do this instead. We don't have to do that, we can do this instead. So it's always good to keep your brain rolling on new ideas, which is why I like to improv a lot. It works great with my acting too. I love improv. I'm the best at it. Just doing a basic pan from left to right with my Canon 70D or my Osmo Plus. When I review the footage on the computer, it looks like it's out of focus or distorted during the pan. What is this? Check your frame rate and check your shutter speed. Maybe your frame rate is really low, like 24, and you're doing very quick pans and you're getting all this motion blur and it's disorienting. Increase your frame rate to 60 frames. You're going to see a lot less of that motion blur. Increase your frame rate to 60 frames and increase your shutter speed to 1/160th. That way you're going to get smoother footage, smoother pans, because your camera is going to be taking more still images instead of just, very slow still images. So you're going to be getting smoother shots with less motion blur. This question might be a bit redundant, but I've been scouring through the Bass Rebels uploads on YouTube and still cannot find some of the tracks used for Rob Rich's chest workout videos. That's because I haven't been only using Bass Rebels. I've been using another channel called Audio Library, I believe, or maybe that was for a few other videos. But all of his videos I've been using Bass Rebels for, or some of his. I don't even remember. I've shot so many videos with him, I don't even remember. But some of his videos, I've actually used tracks from a site called AudioBlocks. AudioBlocks.com. That's another good site that I use tracks from. So that's another good site too. I think you get a 7-day trial with unlimited or 20 downloads a day. So check out AudioBlocks.com. I hope that answered your question, man. Yeah. A lot of his tracks, especially from the beginning, I've been using AudioBlocks. I think it's a good site, good starting site for getting royalty-free audio. But honestly, right now, Bass Rebels is killing it. They're really killing it with their music. Obviously, you give them credit, obviously, because all artists deserve credit, especially if they're giving you their music for free. Give them the credit that they deserve. Bass Rebels, all of their artists, amazing. I love every track that they made. None of their tracks are bad. What is the best settings for your camera when glide camming? Okay, so I covered this again in a tutorial video, but I'll restate it again. Focus, put it at infinite, drop down the f-stop to maybe 16 or 22. That will guarantee that everything stays in focus. Then switch up your frame rate settings to 60 frames per second. Increase your shutter speed to 1/120th. Boom, that's a start right there. But please, I created a playlist on my channel with 18 different glide cam tutorial videos. Watch them and you'll learn everything you need to learn about glide cams. Go to my channel, visit my playlist, and I only have one playlist actually, and that's all about glide cams. 18 videos, guys, 18. Oh, great question. By any chance, have or will you ever team up with Devin Supertramp or Andy Axe for a video? You know what? I know Devin Supertramp. I met him at VidCon in 2015 when I used to work with Olga K. She's a YouTube influencer. I met him at VidCon. We exchanged phone numbers and all that good stuff. So he's a great guy. I love what he's doing. The only issue is that his team is located in Utah. I'm in Los Angeles, and he actually just recently moved to Hawaii. So it's kind of tough, but I would love to be given the opportunity to do a shoot with him. And I actually talked to him for about 20-25 minutes at VidCon. He doesn't like LA. He doesn't like the, all the traffic and I can't blame him. But he's rarely in Los Angeles. So he loves Hawaii. Hawaii is his favorite place. So he's just chilling out in Hawaii, working remotely and living the dream. So he's great where he's at right now. But if I do, if I meet up with him again, which I'm sure we'll cross paths again in the future, yes, I'm totally down to shooting a video with Devin. Great guy. Great guy. I like talking to him a lot at VidCon. Okay, next question. What's your best solution for low light? No, low light is a tough subject to cover because it also greatly depends on the camera you're using. I hate using anything smaller than a full frame camera because of low light. The bigger the sensor, the more sensitive it is to light, and the more light will be able to get onto the sensor. So let's say you have a very small sensor like a micro four thirds, like a GH4 or GH5. You're not going to like my answer, but you're going to have to decrease the shutter speed and open up your aperture as wide as you can. So 1/130 the shutter speed, open up the aperture as wide as you can. Use a very fast lens like a 1.2, 1.8, 1.6. You'll get decent low light out of that. And you can even, in post-production, squeeze up the brightness a little bit, but not too much because you're going to get noise in your footage. So low light is tough. It honestly depends on the camera. That's why I went with the Sony a7S because that camera has an unbelievable light sensitivity. Its ISO range. I can go up to 40,000 ISO and still have clean image. What other camera can do that? No other camera on the market can go up to 40,000 ISO with having clean image still. No camera. Only Sony does that. What lighting setup do you recommend? So I have two different lighting sets. I have 3 softboxes. I usually shoot stuff using a 3-point lighting system. So I have 3 softboxes and I have 3 Fresnel lights. Both of them are color tuned to about 5600 Kelvin, which is a daylight color. So I use the softboxes usually for interviews to produce nice soft light, no harsh shadows or anything like that. And I use the Fresnel lights usually to decorate the set to make it look nice and pretty. They're very powerful LED lights, the Fresnel lights. So I'm able to cut the light, shape the light, and they look really nice when you're trying to decorate a set and aim the lights in a different direction. Softboxes aren't powerful enough to produce that kind of light, so I usually focus on using softboxes for interviews or some very light, soft lighting. What lens do you use for your Sony? Right now, I use a few lenses. My main shooting lens right now is the Zeiss 24-70, and my wide-angle lens is a Rokinon 14mm. My next lens from Sony that I'll be buying is the 18-70, because I want to be able to go from that very wide angle to medium without having to change lenses. So I want to go from 18 to 70. 24 is wide, but I want it a little bit wider than 24, and I think the 18-70 is a perfect lens for what I want. You made me a believer in Sony cameras. Good. Hopefully you're going to switch over, my friend, because Sony is killing it. Any tips on how to get the cinematic experience with your DSLR? I noticed the cinematic type filming in one of your videos. My camera shoots at 1920 by 1080. So if you ask any filmmaker, they're going to say drop your frame rate down to 24 frames per second. I strongly discourage that because in post-production, you're going to want certain shots to be in slow-mo, and 24 frames per second just doesn't give you that. However, what 24 frames does give you is that cinematic motion blur. So if a subject is moving too fast, you get that little motion blur behind that subject or on the side of the subject. So what I recommend shooting at a higher frame rate per second. And when it comes down to getting that cinematic look, it has a lot to do with composition and a lot to do with color. So bokeh is very important to understand. Shallow depth of field to get that cinematic depth, that cinematic look. So shallow depth of field is one thing, coloring is the second thing, and composition is the third thing. Rule of thirds, that's probably one of the most important rules in filmmaking when it comes down to composition. If you don't know what rule of thirds is, yes, I will be making a tutorial on rule of thirds. But I need you guys to say yes, do it, because the more people that want me to do it gets me more motivated to do a video on rule of thirds. Because surprisingly, a lot of filmmakers out there, they don't know anything about the rule of thirds. And that's actually one of the most important composition film school 101 things that I can teach you guys. Once you master rule of thirds, your videos are going to look like, they're going to be like films. So composition, bokeh, and color. I think those are the three top things that will help make your footage look more cinematic. Alright, do it. Give me a second. I'm going to write it down on my whiteboard. I'm going to write it down right here. I have a whole list of videos I need to shoot still, but I'm going to, depending on when you guys want me to do it, I can prioritize it on my whiteboard. See, I got my marker right here. So, composition. Okay, cool. I put it down on the whiteboard. It's coming. It's coming. Rule of thirds. Okay, cool. So we're gonna do that video soon. Maybe I'll shoot it this weekend. We'll see. Steve Holt. I've noticed a lot of films breaking the rule of thirds for drama. Makes it feel off. You see, it makes you feel off. It makes you feel a little bit cringy, right? I get that feeling a lot too when I watch videos and people just ignore the rule of thirds. For example, in an interview when you're doing a profile shot and the person's profile is directly in the center of the frame, I hate it. I can't stand it. However, if they're backed up right here and you have the whole background blurred out, you're using the rule of thirds, but you're getting that cinematic 3D effect. The subject is in focus, the background is not in focus. So I really dislike it when interviews are shot with a profile shot of the subject being directly in the center of the frame. They should be over here or over here, and the background should be completely blurred out. And of course lighting, fourth thing to add to those top three things when it comes to getting cinematic look. Lighting, I can't believe I didn't mention that. Lighting is so important. That's why I think Fresnels are beautiful for that. Fresnels really let you create an artistic and film-like look to your footage. So I'll be also doing a tutorial video on lighting. I have like a list of 20 videos that I have to do right now. So right now I'm just thinking about how to prioritize which video to put out first. So is there a way to do a poll on chat? Does anybody know how to do a poll? I want to do a poll on here and see if, I don't know if I can do a poll. But anyway, I want you guys to tell me what kind of video you want me to create next. I have a list of 20 here. I have a gimbal calibration video, how to create cinematic moves with glide cam, how to pull focus. I actually kind of did that already. How to organize your footage, how to light a green screen, how to start filmmaking, flying indoors with your DJI Mavic Pro, how to present yourself in a meeting, or how to present yourself in front of clients, gimbal versus Steadicam, how to achieve film look, Mavic Pro gimbal control, Mavic Pro sensor calibration, and composition tutorial. And then I have more written down. So like I have a ton of videos here, guys, that I need to do. Please let me know which one you want me to upload next or shoot next. That would really help me out. And yeah, whatever you guys want, let's do it. This channel's about you, it's not about me. Okay. Are cheap Steadicams worth it, or should I save up for an expensive one? cheap Steadicams are worth it. I paid $250 for my Lang. Beautiful shots. Just check out some of my videos on YouTube and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Yeah, so Steve Holt completely put it down. He was like putting a person on the left, looking left, lots of negative space on the right. Exactly. That negative space is supposed to be used to show depth, right? The person is in front of the background. Unfortunately, when you watch movies, they're in 2 dimensions, right? They're not in 3D. 3D, you need the glasses. But when you get that sense of depth, it feels like 3D, which is why bokeh is really important. Does the GH4 shoot the same quality as movies that you see in cinema? Honestly, if you get an external recorder that will be able to export raw footage from a GH4, you're going to get pretty darn close to a cinematic camera. Yeah. Next question here. Can you briefly discuss the rule of thirds? Sure. So I don't even know if okay, so honestly I can't discuss it very well because if I were to make a tutorial video I would show you the actual rule of thirds, but basically it's a grid, 1, 2, 3 lines going vertical, 3 lines going horizontal, and basically you have 3, 3, 3, 9 boxes on your screen, and this is a grid, and this grid helps you frame up your subjects. And because you don't see the grid, it's very difficult for me to explain to you the rule of thirds, but basically your subject is supposed to be intersecting a few of those lines on the thirds. So your screen is split up into thirds, vertically and horizontally, and it's important to use your subject, put your subject intersecting those thirds. It's hard for me to explain it. This is a live stream. I can't put up any graphics for you right now. However, I do have software that will allow me to do graphics. So maybe I can do a live stream specifically on rule of thirds using that software. And I'll be able to explain it to you too. So I can't explain it to you too well, but the rule of thirds is basically a cinematic tool to help people with composition to make things more cinematic. So that's all I can say right now on the rule of thirds, but once I get my tutorial set up and my live stream, I'll be able to show you exactly what the rule of thirds can do for you. Steve Holt, light video would be awesome. Lighting is super important and seems overlooked. You are absolutely right. Lighting is everything. Poor lighting is not going to get you anything. It all comes down to lighting and composition, and well, I think lighting is number 1. Lighting and sound. I think those are the 2 big things that filmmakers have issues with nowadays. It's lighting and sound. Almost all cameras have great picture quality now. It all comes down to the actual filmmaker. It's not difficult to produce high quality images anymore. It's not. Even GoPros do a very good job. But now we have to talk about lighting and sound. And maybe I'll do a sound tutorial as well. I think that's important. Okay. How to present yourself to a client. Interesting subject. Do it, Josh. Okay, good. So maybe for my next video, I'll do a video on presentation. I'm not sure a lot of people are going to be watching it because it's not a big search term on YouTube. But I will still upload it because it's an important thing to understand. How to present yourself in front of clients, how to say no. That's a big one. How to say no and when to say yes. I feel like those are the biggest problems we have in today's world, from people being taken advantage of, not making any money. You have to know when to say no and when to say yes. And I think that I'm going to cover that in the presentation. I did a series called Real Talk a while ago. I'm going to bring it back and talk about presentation and how you should be in front of clients. I think that's very, very important. Devin Supertramp uses the red 4K cinema camera. What do you recommend, GH4 or red? Obviously, I recommend the red, but it's a $30,000. The base price of that camera is $30,000. How many people have that money? I definitely don't want to spend that much yet on a camera. So especially if it's just going to YouTube. All my clients just want their videos on YouTube. So I don't need to rely on red yet. However, once I expand my business even further and start generating royalty-free videos, yes, I will be investing in a red camera or some other camera that has similar quality, like a Canon C300 Mark II, C500. Devin Supertramp, a lot of his business also comes from selling his footage. So he needs to have red. He needs to have a red camera. It's, you get 4K, 6K. I think he even has the red helium, which is 8K. It's an 8K sensor. That's future-proof for probably the next 10, 15 years. So when you're selling royalty footage, when you're selling stock footage, you have to be future-proof. It has to be good for years and years and years. And Devin makes a lot of his money, a lot of his business from selling his footage to firms. So that's why he uses red. It's very difficult to tell the difference between red and a GH4 when you upload it to YouTube because of the compression and all that stuff. He doesn't have a red for YouTube. He has a red so he can sell the footage to royalty-free footage firms. So that's a big, big thing. I'm planning on getting a Canon T6i. Should I get that or save up longer for the T7i? I don't think you should save up for any T6s or T7s. I think you should go for the 5D, my friend. 5D Mark III. Save up for that. You get a full frame sensor. And I think for the 5D Mark III, you can buy an A7S for that price. So get the A7S. Drop Canon. Canon is done when it comes to video. Go for Sony. So for the price, I think, of a 5D Mark III, you can get a Sony A7S. Why wouldn't you, right? It's a Sony. Sony's amazing. They're remarkable. They're killing it right now. And another camera to compare to the red and to the Canon C500, C300 are the Sony FS5, FS7s. Those are great cameras too. They're big, but they're great. How to educate the client, manage the expectations, and keep them excited. Yes, I will cover all of that in presentation as well. Or actually, that'll be a separate video. How to work with clients. I think how a general etiquette should be. I'll tell you a funny story right now, and I think you guys can learn from it. I was in San Francisco last weekend working with my brother. He's a public speaker. Look him up. His name is Jacob Morgan. You look him up on Google. He's the first guy that pops up. Just go on Google. Imagine how many Jacob Morgans there are on the internet. There's a million of them. But my brother is the first one that pops up on Google. He's ranked #1 on Google. So he's a public speaker. He's what we call a futurist. He helps big corporations. What he does is he speaks to these corporations and he teaches them how they need to treat their employees and how they need to treat their customers. And when I say he's a futurist, I mean that he's trying to show companies that the old way of treating their employees and the old way of treating their customers is no longer valid. They have to keep up with the times when it comes down to treating employees and treating customers. So that's what I mean by futurist. So anyway, regardless, when I was shooting with him, my brother is he's very interesting to work with. There were times that were very difficult to work with because he's very picky. He's very particular in what he wants. And shooting with him can get very, very difficult. But you have to remember to always keep your cool. You're going to come across clients that are the biggest pain. Biggest pain. They pay you well, but they are the biggest pain. And you have to understand, you have to learn how to take that that frustration, and you got to feed it somewhere else. Feed it into the video. You know, use that energy for good and not for the negative, because then you risk losing a client, and on top of that, you risk having that client telling other potential clients not to work with you. So that's important. And I have some techniques for you to get better with dealing with frustration, and we'll cover that in a future video. Sony A7S cameras are GH4 for filming. Both are 4K, right? Yes, both cameras are 4K. However, the Sony A7S requires an external recorder to get 4K. The Sony A7S Mark II is internal 4K. However, internal 4K is never the best. You always want to use a recorder when you're using 4K. You're going to get cleaner footage. Why not, right? It's going to be very difficult to tell 4K from 1080p when you're recording internal on those kinds of cameras. Right. Any more questions, guys? I think I answered everyone's question. Fantastic. And this live stream is going on for 41 minutes already. The Sony is a good camera, but too expensive. Can you recommend a camera for filmmaking that's under $1,000? 5D Mark II. 5D Mark II, or if you want to go really small, the Sony RX100 Mark V. I think that's around $1,000. But it's a little point and shoot. However, its capabilities are incredible. But if you want something bigger like a DSLR, 5D Mark II is still my choice in filmmaking when it comes down to a DSLR. 5D Mark II was my first professional DSLR / movie camera. It gave me such incredible footage. And they use that camera in a lot of professional shoots, like for House MD, for Fast and Furious. They were using 5D Mark IIs. Keep that in mind. Any more questions? Or are we good? But yeah, honestly, I feel like you guys are getting the grasp of it. So that's I'm proud of you guys. Steve Holt, Sony seems to not want to cannibalize their FS5, Note 10-bit and FS7 cameras. Yeah, their bit rates are a little bit lower than Red, but honestly, that picture quality, I love the FS7. I think it's a great camera. I think Sony still makes one of the best sensors. Sony and Panavision and Panasonic, I would say those are the top three for video. Panavision, obviously, those are $200,000, $300,000 cameras. But Panasonic makes unbelievable sensors when it comes down to picture quality. Sony makes great sensors. And Canon also makes good sensors. Canon is more of a photo company, in my opinion. So when you're looking for a video camera for Canon, you have to look more at their cinema style cameras, like the C300, C100, C500. Don't buy any other camera if you're looking for video from Canon. Those are the video cameras that you need. Sigma 18-35, good for video. I don't know that lens. I don't know how fast is it? Is it 2.8, 3.5? I don't know. I don't have any Sigma lenses. Alvin Wolf, great live as always, man. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Steve Holt says, yes, 18-35 is great with the Metabones on a GH5. 18-35 is a 1.8. Okay, good. So I don't have any Sigma lenses. I don't. I try to get native lenses for my cameras because I love using autofocus on a glide cam. So I'm trying to stick with Zeiss, even though I know that I can't always rely on Zeiss. I'm probably going to have to get a few Canon lenses next. A few Canon telephoto lenses, so I'm not always going to have to... I can't always rely on Zeiss. I have a problem with the ergonomics of Sony cameras. Do you agree? They're tiny. They're tiny, my friend. I know Sony cameras are tiny and the menus are cumbersome. I got used to it, so I don't really care anymore. But when I first got my Sony A7S, I was like, what the heck is this? You know, I didn't enjoy... Coming from a 5D Mark II, which is a big DSLR, the Sony A7S was like, ugh, it's so difficult to even hold this thing. But you get used to it. Just keep shooting with it. Steve Holt says he doesn't like the small batteries and overheating. Yeah, I don't either. But luckily now, third-party companies are making cooling pads or cooling rigs. Like Kane TV has in few of their Sony A7 rigs, they sell fans that cool down your camera. So, you know, and then Sony's about to release their new version, A7S Mark III, I believe. So that should have the overheating factor solved, hopefully. Do you think I could do cinematic videos with a GoPro Hero 5 Session? I don't have that camera, but I feel like... I mean, anybody can pull anything off. I think you can. Again, don't forget that Lord of the Rings used GoPros in their films. So if they can pull it off, so can you. It has to do a lot with lighting. It has to do a lot with color, framing, composition, all that stuff. So if you nail all of those things, you will be able to pull off cinematic footage no matter what camera you're using. You could even get a DV camera, those old tape cameras, and shoot anything you want. And it has to do with lighting. It really does. Lighting, composition, color, and sound. If you want it to look like cinema, all those factors have to be taken into account. Hi Josh, do you think it is absolutely necessary for a gimbal stabilizer to have fine-tuning controls? Yes. Yes, I do. Each person is different. Each person's shooting style is different. Gimbals cannot be all calibrated the same for every person. It's just not going to work. I needed to recalibrate my gimbal a few times. It took me hours and hours to recalibrate it to my liking. So, and I'll make a tutorial video on that. I will. So yes, it is definitely necessary to... I mean, companies say don't touch the settings. I do, because I'm very picky with my gimbal. So yeah, I do. I do think it's necessary. Steve Holt, he says, Nikon CEO says they have a full-frame mirrorless this summer. I'm hoping that competes with Sony. Nikon holds a special place in my heart. Well, Steve Holt, you're not going to like what I'm about to say, but Sony makes the sensors for Nikon, which means that Sony is always going to be slightly higher than Nikon. They're going to save the technology the best technology for themselves. That was a few years ago. I don't know if Sony still makes their sensors, but I know that they did. They probably still do. But Sony's going to be higher than Nikon when it comes down to video. Steve Holt says not in the D5 or D500. Okay, so maybe they don't, not for the D5 or D500. But definitely remember that Sony is, I think, in my opinion, Sony is number one. Any more questions, my friends? Any more questions? Please let me know. I think this was a great live talk, you guys, right? Great live talk. Yeah, Sony makes really good stuff, and they're expensive, but I think Sony's killing it. Currently, right now, I think the industry leaders for consumers and prosumers right now would be Panasonic and Sony. Panasonic with their GH5, Sony with their A7 line of cameras. So they're killing it. They're owning the industry right now when it comes to prosumer and consumer cameras. Any more questions, guys? Any more? I'll answer one more question, then we'll sign off. Stephen Holt, I would like to try Nikon glass on my Sony. Yeah, do it. Nikon makes good glass. Mike the cameraman, great stream as always. I make sure I have my pen and pad every time. Thanks, bro. Mike the cameraman, you the man. You the man. Alright, you the man. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please, guys, if you found this info useful, share it with your friends. I really appreciate your support. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to try and do a live stream again tomorrow. I mean, I'm going to try and do these every day for at least, half an hour. So the more I help you guys, the better it is. And I hope you're sharing this channel, sharing these videos with your friends. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to end it right here. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments section below so I can answer them in the next live stream. And we'll cover that in the next live stream. Yeah. Halvin Wolf, color scheme tips. Again, I'm going to make a tutorial on that. So, yeah. I'll make a tutorial on that, my friend. Don't worry. Please comment below. As soon as I log off, for some weird reason for YouTube, the comments you're asking, they never get saved. So wait for this video to go live, this live video to go live when it's done processing, and comment your questions in the comment section below. That way I take note of them, and I'll have questions to answer on my next live stream. That will help me out a lot. So I would appreciate that. So thank you guys so much. Please share this channel with your friends. Let's get to 100,000 subscribers. That's my dream, and this is all for you, and I just really appreciate your guys' support, all right? I'm trying to be 110% transparent with you. I want to give you all my film tips because who knows? We live a short life. We might as well have fun living our lives. Do what you love. Let me help you do what you love, okay? So thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.